Tony?
All right. It's Sunday night again.
What's up, Tava Garage, Greasy Garage, Mexican Spec?
What's I got my Mexican soda, man.
You
I got
do.
my Mexican soda.
Your Charitos.
You know, it sucks that you have to go out of this country to find soft drinks that aren't trying to kill you.
You may have to move that. It's all smoke.
No, it's good. It adds atmosphere.
No, it's too much atmosphere.
It's romantic.
What's up, John M? What's up, Bill McKiska?
I got all my major liquids represented here. I got my
All the
coffee,
drinks.
I got my water, and I got my Mexican soda. Like,
Uh-huh.
come on,
Greasy Garage says that stuff is the best.
isn't it?
Broke Joker ATV, what's up? Joe K, Diesel, Mitten Made Muscle, Gary Brender, Fubar, Dripping
Fubar.
Glass. Let's see. Travoto says hello. Phillips Customs, Fun with Cars 2. Robert Flint, Dakota's Timeout. Uncle Moose Creekside Garage, Mexican Spec again. He said Mexican soda.
Mexican soda.
Yeah, that's what Tony's drinking now.
Yeah, all of the, all of the
Boobies.
regular domestic sodas have that high fructose corn syrup, and this stuff is all made with regular cane sugar.
We're trying to be healthy.
I'm trying to be healthy, but still enjoy some of the, the
What's up?
funner things in life.
What's up, William Kavanaugh? Numb Nuts, Jason's Garage, Charlie Roma, Ian Norton, Frank Strobel, Dale. So what's new, Tony? What's up, everybody?
What is new? There's nothing new. Can
What
you
do you
think of
mean?
anything new?
Did you not do anything this week?
No.
Nothing? What'd you guys do out there in
We made a
YouTube
couple
land?
of videos, but like I really haven't done anything. Body Man Ron was at the shop yesterday, so we did some work on the charger, and that should be done well before the end of this decade. I think we're halfway through 2023, right?
Yes.
We'll definitely have that car finished before the end of the decade.
You think so?
Yeah, well, maybe not, but you know what? We can hope.
Yeah? Oh, good. The dogs are barking.
Yes.
Let's see. So, how was everybody's week? Good? What's up, Doug Calhoun? He says hello. Kurt Burns says, Tony and Kathy, hello from upstate New York. Ever been to Lebanon Valley? I remember, I think you did New York City stuff for a while.
Oh, I can't hear over the dogs.
I'm waiting a second. Yeah, did you do New York City stuff for a while?
I was born and raised in New York City. I lived there until 20 years ago when I moved down here to Nashville. So yeah, I did everything in New York City. Lebanon Valley, once or twice. My home tracks were Englishtown, Atco, Maple Grove. We very rarely went north.
Okay.
Cecil County.
Mr. Blutarski says hello from a Buick guy pretending to be a Chevy guy.
That's an odd identity.
A little bit. Listening to this as I work on rebuilding my computer. Crazy Coffee says. Computer. Very cool. Let's see. Joe Jackson says Lebanon Valley is way nicer now.
Like I said, we ran a match race there with Lagana's car. I'm gonna say like in like 1990 or 91, something like that. I once or twice I was there.
Keep talking.
I can't keep talking. I'm distracted by the barking like everybody else is. I thought we had them all wore out. We took them for a long walk on the Greenway and oh jeez, I can't think. Hey, Kat, this happens every time. You forget that we're live.
No,
You just disappear.
I had to make them stop barking. Well, I figured you were good at talking.
No, I'm not. I'm only going to talk if you got me wound up on a subject, and then you can
my
leave. But you
goodness.
can't just up and go.
I don't. All right. Sorry, everybody. I
We
guess
might,
Tony can't handle
it occurred,
talking for 2
it
minutes.
occurred to me that after 5 years of doing this, we might be too relaxed.
Maybe. Okay. Well, the dogs are barking. I had to make them stop.
But Maggie wasn't
Oh,
barking.
she's
Maggie
not
was being
here.
a good girl.
Who let the dogs out? Yeah. Tony can handle the dogs and Kathy can answer the questions. I don't think so.
That's how we'll do it from now on.
No, we won't do it that way. Not even a little bit. Okay, so what's wrong? You can't talk?
You left without giving me anything to talk about. You were just like, bye.
No, I wasn't.
I'm like,
I wasn't like
but don't you
bye.
realize we're live? And then I'm
Very
watching you.
unprofessional.
I'm watching
Yes,
you through the
Dakota.
window, okay? And
Yeah.
I'm like panicking now because we're alive and I got to be talking and I'm watching you through the window
Uh-huh.
and you're just like taking the bag, reaching in, getting a chip, looking at the chip,
No, I didn't look at the chip.
thinking if you're gonna give it to the dog with. And I'm like, and I'm panicking. I'm like, ah.
Uh-huh. You'll live. Everyone shall live. Okay. Gearheads and Godly says, I see Uncle Tony uses the same style anti-bug oil lantern. It helps.
Well, we have two things going
The
right
lantern
now. We have-
really is great.
The lantern is great. Yeah, we got this thing and we got this
Smoking thing.
smoke maker over there. It's
Mhm.
the coil, you know, the green coil that you like from the mosquitoes. Because we have a vicious mosquito problem back here, and I don't know where it comes from because there's no stagnant water. Like there's no place that mosquitoes, in theory, should be able to come from back here. But there they are.
They do. Territory says, Tony, when are you going to fly out to Canada to inspect DD Speed Shop's flipper work?
I don't fly. I don't fly. The last time I got on a plane was like in 1992, and every time I ever got on a plane, I swore I would never get on a plane again, and I haven't.
William Kavanaugh says, Tony really touched a nerve with the coronet video. Good stuff.
Oh, please, yeah. I don't want. Wait, we'll gear up and talk.
We'll
about
gear
that.
up, okay. Can you gear up for that?
Yeah, I have. I'm still in like Sunday afternoon, like getting in gear mode, right?
Mm-hmm. She doesn't read the comments anyway. Swamp rat. That's your
James, it's normal James. What's happening, man?
What's up, James? How are you? I do read your comments. Stop the plane, let me get off. Yeah, that would be Tony. I think you did that once, didn't you?
I did that
Before, like...
Midway Airport. I was at Midway Airport. I made them stop the plane and let me off.
It was before the rules were very strict, though, right?
It was
like in the
92 or 93. I don't remember. I was there with. Oh, I think it was one of the World Series of drag racing or the Olympics of drag racing with Brett Welker's Time Machine, and he flew me out and was going to fly me home after the race, and I got on the plane, and they started to move it away, and I made them stop the plane and let me off.
Yeah. And you never flew after that again?
Never flew after that again.
Interesting.
You've flown.
Yeah, I like to fly.
You like to fly.
My plane was running out of gas on 9/11.
Yeah, see, this is what I mean.
We were running out of gas. There was a storm in New York. So we had to keep circling over and over and over because we couldn't land at LaGuardia. And they were like, we only have 20 minutes of gas left. And I was like, well, awesome. And you're counting in your head, and you're like, is that 20 minutes?
Yeah.
That was pretty bad.
See, I have this crazy thing where I want to be buried with my own arms and legs. I
Yeah,
know it sounds
right.
crazy.
I do love
I
to
know
fly,
it's
though.
weird.
I think it's awesome.
I want to be buried with my own arms and legs.
I didn't want to run out of gas, though. That was not awesome. Let's see. Have you been to the Chrysler Nationals at Carlisle? Dripping Glass wants to know.
Yes, we went about 5 years ago, and then I was there for about 20 minutes 2 years ago, and that was enough.
Michael Asher says, so how heartbroken were you about Kiwi's Cougar, the nice blue one?
I swear to God, right? I wasn't acting. That really bothered me because I pulled up on it because he told me he's like, you got to see this car I got here. He says, is it video worthy? He says, yeah, bring your camera. So I wasn't expecting when I pulled up on the car. It's just such a beautiful car. It's the right color. It's the right wheels. It's got the right stance. It's right. And when I'm looking at this car, I'm like, my God, that's just beautiful, right? I like Cougars. I've always liked Cougars. And it just, once we got underneath the car, that was not acting. I was surprised. I mean, I could not believe how bad that thing was. But it bothered me because I mean, it was a nice car. Aside from that.
It made me sad when I started to watch the video to edit it. I
That's the kind
actually
of
got sad.
that's the
Felt
kind
really
of
bad.
car like I don't know if you guys ever have like a car or a motorcycle that's got just the right look, okay? And like you park it someplace, and as you're walking away from it, you turn around and you look at it, and then you walk like another 20 feet and you turn around and look at it.
Look at it, yeah.
Okay? Well, that was one of those cars. You know what I mean? I could see that if I owned that thing, I'd walk 20 feet, turn around and look at it, and look at it from this angle, look at it from that angle. It was just so beautiful. And then, yeah, just
We did that once after we painted the swinger. We ended up going into the wrong restaurant, remember?
that's right. I remember that.
Because we kept looking at the car. And then we're seated and we're looking at the menu and we're like, where are we?
Oh, that's right. That was the
Remember
first
that?
time we painted the
We
swinger.
painted the swinger, right? We
Yeah.
went to dinner. It was my birthday.
So, yeah, we painted the car that morning, right?
Yeah.
Here in the backyard.
Yeah.
On the grass.
It looked really great.
It looked great, okay? Yeah, I ran an air hose through the house, and we painted it like literally. It was before we had this pad over here, and we painted it literally on the grass, and then untaped it, cleaned everything up, and decided we are going to go out to dinner. So we ran up to Nashville, and there was a steakhouse that we had gone to, and I parked the car on the
I think
street.
we wanted to go to the German place, and we ended up at the steakhouse.
Whatever
We
it
were
was, I
looking
don't
at the
remember.
car.
This is 10 years
Yeah, it was
ago.
a long time
right?
ago.
So, yeah, parked the car on the street, and like we're walking away from it and looking back at it, and it's like, woof. It was like fresh orange paint. It was beautiful, and we walked into the wrong restaurant. And when we actually got seated.
Yeah. I'm looking at the menu, and there's nothing German on there.
we didn't realize we were in the wrong restaurant.
I was like, what is this? Where's the German food?
We didn't realize we were in the wrong restaurant until after we got the menus.
Right. And we were like, where are we?
There was that steakhouse with the big giant black guy.
Yeah, he was a great waiter.
The waiter?
Yeah, it was a great steakhouse. He was a great waiter.
That was.
He was awesome.
It was a great accident because it was definitely
Yeah.
better than the German place.
Delicious, like amazing food.
Yeah.
What was the name of the steakhouse?
I don't remember now. I think it's 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's still there. It's like a famous steakhouse in Nashville. It was really good. Let's see. Okay. Antonio is laughing.
But yeah, that's that Cougar. Like I said, there was something about just that car in that color, the rag top with those wheels and everything was just like, whew. And then just to climb underneath it and see, just the Bondo. Okay, Bondo was bad enough. I mean, obviously Bondo is bad enough. Okay, but there was red lead over the Bondo. Why would you cover the Bondo under the car with red lead and then paint over it? What was the purpose?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
How strong? Like was it safe on the lift like that?
Yeah, I wasn't going to go anywhere on the left.
Yeah.
It was areas were cracking because it was all packed with Bondo, but it wasn't like the car was going to fall on us.
Mm-hmm. Because that would be terrible.
Yeah, but I have the reflexes of a Puma.
A Puma.
So, as soon as it started coming down, I would have stepped out of the way, and felt bad for Kiwi.
It's terrible, Tony. I think
I
you
would
should save Kiwi.
have said,
your life.
Kiwi, look out!
Oh, Tony. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. What do you do with that car, seriously? Worth taking it apart?
I do not know.
And restoring it properly?
I don't know. The owner's between a rock and a hard
I'm
place.
sure.
I don't
I feel
know.
so bad.
I don't know. And that's one of the reasons why I don't really like doing videos like that because, okay, so I don't know the owner. I've never met the owner. I probably never will meet the owner. and he's anonymous, so it's not like anybody can like point at him and say, "Ah, you got
Right.
burnt" or anything like that. Um,
Who would do that though? Who would point at him and be like, "Ha ha, you got burnt"?
you see some of these assholes.
Oh,
Um, yeah, it's weird. I don't, but I don't know. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you would do. Like I've never found myself in that position, so I can't really. Okay, so now she'll tell you, right? I'm the exact opposite. When I go to sell something, and I've always been like this. When it comes to certain things, I'm honest to a fault, right? Like if I'm going to compete against you, I'm going to cheat. Okay, there's no question about it. Do not trust me ever. Okay, but
in a competition.
in a competition, but if I'm selling something, okay, I'm honest to a fault. And what I'll do is I'll make whatever I'm selling. I'll make it look as nice as possible. But literally, the very first thing I'll do before we get into any type of conversation or anything like that, I'll point out the problem areas on the car. I want you to see the problem areas on the car. You know, because I just don't want to. I try to be as fair as possible, and I undersell things. You know, like I sold a couple of cars recently, and I literally sold them for much less. I sold them for less than their value in parts because the cars needed work, and a lot of that work wasn't really visible. So I was just here, just give me short money, you know. And I'm not going to say the prices, but when I'm selling a car or a bike or anything like that, I always point out the problems. I don't want you to have to guess. I don't want you to be deceived. I want you to see the problems. You know, it's the same way when I was a mechanic. I never upsold anything. You know what I mean? Never. I never upsold. How many years was I a mechanic?
Long time.
Did I ever
Upsell,
upsell
no.
anything?
No,
to
because
anybody?
everybody else did.
No, I do the exact opposite. I'm like oh, you don't need all of that. You just need
Right.
this. You
And
know?
that's why your customers loved you.
Yeah. When it comes to certain things, when it comes to doing business, I'm honest to a fault. So I can't relate. I can't understand how anybody could do shit. I can't understand how people can do the shit that they do.
Yeah. I guess they don't see
And
anything
I
wrong
always
with
made a
it.
fantastic living
Right.
being honest,
Right.
right? Like I made
You
more
weren't
money.
rich, but you made a decent living.
I made more money
Yeah.
than the guys who would upsell and the
Mhm.
guys who would, you know what I'm saying, in the long haul.
Right.
You don't have to be a thief or underhanded to make a profit. You just have to work a little harder, let's say.
You have to sleep at night too.
And I got to be able to sleep at night.
Yeah. When you put your head on your pillow, you gotta be able to just go right out. Hank Hill sent you a super chat. I want your opinion. My 67 satellite has a stock 318. I want a 440, but I don't have GTX money. Should I upgrade the OG 318 or get a period correct 440?
The 440 is going to give you more bang for the buck. And if you've got a 67 satellite, I mean, okay, so let's just say, let's talk about clones. Let's talk about clones, right? So let's just say you've got a 67 satellite, which is the right body, okay? And you throw a 440 in it, which is the right motor. And then for a GTX, right? And then you says, well, you know what? Okay, I'm going to put the two little scoops on the hood, right? Like a GTX would have. Well, go ahead. You know what I'm saying? And then you say, well, you know what? I want to throw the GTX emblems on the car too, right? Well, fine. You know, and the 67 GTX, the emblems on the 67 GTX are just special. I can't explain why the trim on the 67 GTX is so much cooler than the later cars, but it is. So as long as the car is true to what you're trying to clone, or what you're not even cloning, or what you're trying to emulate, as long as the car is true to that, you know, you wouldn't do it with a 66. That would look weird. It's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Unless you change everything to make it a 67. But if it's the right year and you've got the right engine in it and you got the right trim level and all of that, well then go ahead. You know what I mean? Throw the emblems on it.
I think it's kind of unclear, like what lines get crossed. You know, what's okay to a purist and what's not okay. Because there are things that are okay to purists.
Okay,
It has to be how it has to be done in a certain way.
okay.
So you don't get laughed at.
The swinger is the perfect example,
Okay.
okay, of what I'm talking about,
Okay.
right? All right. So, the swinger at a glance, you'd say, oh, it's like a 340 swinger, right? The car is a 72. So, I won't do anything to, on, or around the car that isn't 72 correct. And I made one little thing with that. Okay, so for example now, the Hemi Orange was available in 1972. If the color Hemi Orange was not available in 72, I never would have painted it. So if it was only a 71 color or a 70 color, I never would have painted it that color. But orange, the Hemi Orange was a regular available color in 1972. So that's what color I painted it. It has 1972 interior, 1972 gauge cluster. Now, I wanted to put a tail stripe on it because, well, hell, how can you have an orange swinger without a tail stripe, right? But I wouldn't do it because in 72, there were no tail stripes available. You'd have to paint it on. Okay, so paint it on, no big deal, right? But you'd never find it on a 72. And the reason being, the reason you would never ever find a tail stripe on a 72 is because the factory stickers were all cut out for the 71 marker lights. When they moved their marker light in 72, well, it's in a completely different position. So if you take the factory tail stripe and you lay it over a 72 car, if you take a 71 tail stripe and lay it on a 72 car, there's a big hole where the marker light should be, and the marker light is where is in the black part of it. So no, you know what I mean? You could never have gotten that car from the factory with a tail stripe. And I'm trying to keep it in the realm of a factory car. The
So the paint color for that year is a big
Yes,
no
the
no.
paint
You
color
have
for
to
that year is
stay
a big
with
deal.
right. It's a
Okay,
big
to me,
deal.
to
Yeah.
me. All right. So now the wheels. I hate the 72 Eggcorn centers. I like the 70, 71. It's got rally wheels on it. The sombrero hat or the pointy center. I like those. But it's not right on a 72. Like you can't look at the side of a 72 and see 72 marker lights and the round wheels. It's just not done, right? So it's got the less desirable, in my opinion, uh, centers on the wheels. The scoops. So those scoops those are the 69 and 70 Ram Charger scoops. They never came from the factory. Okay, the scoops were borrowed in the Duster Twister for the Duster Twister in 71 and 72. So they took the Dodge Scoops and put them on the Duster Twister. And I'm doing a whole video on the Duster Twister. Actually, I may do it tomorrow because it's an interesting car. The Duster Twister was only available with a 270, with a 318 or a slant 6. That's it, only 2 inches you can get with it. It was not a high performance package, but it used those Ram Charger scoops. So I said to myself, it's 1972. I'm going to go to the dealer. I'm going to go buy a Dodge Dart, a 72 Dodge Dart. I want it in orange. I want the rally wheels. I want this thing to be as hot rod looking as possible. Okay, like I want that Twister package, but I want it on a Dodge Dart. I could go to the dealer and say, hey, I want the scoops on the car, and the dealer would have gone to the parts room, taken a pair of scoops, handed it to the prep guy, and said, here, put these scoops on this car for this guy. Fine, no problem, no harm, no foul, right? So that's why it has the scoops.
As long as it's a possible scenario.
As long as it's a possible and even
it's okay.
probable scenario,
Right.
it's okay.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see that.
So
Yeah.
now I've got a car that has all of the classic muscle car looks, but it's not fraudulent in any way.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't pretend to be anything that it's not.
Right.
There is one thing that bothers me about that car. Well, two things, right? All right, so first off, I hate the 72 grill. The 72 grill is ugly. So I put a 71 grill on it. That 71 grill. Which in my mind is okay because it matches the back bumper.
Because why?
Well, 70 through 73 is the same back bumper.
Yeah.
So 71, the taillights are different in 70, but
Right.
71 and 72 have the same taillights. So the front and the back of the car match as far as like a 71 would go.
Okay.
Right? But what bothers me is that the car has dual exhaust on it.
Yeah.
and dual exhaust never appeared under those taillights.
Oh. Oh, well, you need to just like crush that car.
That always bothered me. That always bothered me about that car because okay, so 70, 71, 70, you could have the 340 in the Swinger, okay? But 71, you couldn't get the 340 Swinger anymore. It was 340 Demon. The only engines you can get in the Swinger were the the 318 and the Slant 6. Neither one of them had dual exhaust. So those 71 taillights never had dual exhaust underneath them. And that bothers me about that car.
Okay. You have a super chat.
Am I rambling on? I know
No,
I'm
you're
rambling
good. You're good.
on. Okay.
Okay, first time ever, I have to ask a bike question. 2007 Honda VTX 1300, idles fine, revs fine, off accelerator pump, but if you fully open the choke, it dies. Steady part throttle leans way out.
Yeah, the pilot jets are clogged. The pilot jet or the passage beyond the pilot jet is clogged. That's why it'll run on the choke. As soon as you take the choke off, it's not pulling any fuel through the pilot or the low. Well, just Google pilot jet for the carburetors on that bike. You see what I'm talking about. You got to take the carburetor off. I use wire. You take a wire from like a wire brush, like a bristle from a wire brush, with a very fine stainless wire, or you could even use a bread tie. You know the bread ties. Take the coating off the bread ties. So you just got the bare wire. Pass that through the pilot jet and all of the low speed that circuitry that goes to it. And they're all a little bit different, so I can't tell you exactly which one to do. But I'll tell you right now, I'll definitely, no question, your problem is in the pilot jet or the pilot jet circuit.
So Lawrence Schneiber, I hope I said that right, says the Vermont loophole has been outlawed for out-of-staters. Too many hot cars being registered.
I know. We'll have to take that video down.
Yeah, I think so. Do you think that that's true? Too many stolen cars, or you think that that's just an excuse that they used?
I, I'm sure Vermont didn't really care. You know what I mean? It was a cash cow for them. I don't really think but yeah, the people were probably abusing it in a really illegal way. You know, like as long as it was done, because it's been for so many years. As long as it was done, not illegally, but like just to get around the hassles. I don't think Vermont really cared. But if it's going to be used by people, registering stolen stuff, that's a different story.
Yeah. Right. Let's see. Fox Body 5 liter. Says, what do you think about carb cheaters like Luke 289?
It's a metered vacuum leak.
What do you think about it?
It's not a bad idea.
Okay. Changa says, I put a Super B power bulge hood on my 68 Coronet 440. Still a Coronet.
What do you say?
I put a Super B power bulge hood on my 68 Coronet 440. Still a Coronet.
Yes. And in theory now, you could have, at the dealership, you could have said, hey, I want that Coronet, but I really like that power bulge hood. And the dealer would have ordered you a hood. If you paid for it, the dealer would have ordered you a hood and put it on that car. Like, that's not out of the question. That's not, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say that's a pass.
That's a pass.
That's a pass.
You need to make a little list of criteria that people can put in their pockets. Like Uncle Tony's roadmap to cloning properly.
Okay, no Mopar fanatic.
A little handbook.
No Mopar fanatic is going to look at a Coronet, a 68 Coronet that has a B hood on it, a bulge hood on it, okay, and say, what's he trying to do, right?
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Is that how they say it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would look at that and say, okay, that it complements the car. It's not bad.
Okay. Let's see. My stepfather had a V6 Duster. Thing was bulletproof as far as drivable. I miss him in that car. November Lightning says. Mr. is laughing. Dougster is here. Uncle Tony, is it possible to hot rod a 68 Chevy straight six engine? Diego
Yes,
Munoz.
absolutely. Lots of people do it. Very popular engine to hot rod. Or at least it has been in years past. I mean, nobody's really hot rodding them nowadays, but there's plenty of speed equipment out there, plenty of speed knowledge out there. My friend Chuck Yoder is building one. I don't know the size of it. If you look up Chuck Yoder on Facebook and ask him about straight six Chevys, he can give you some answers.
David Bird says, I'm guilty. I'm putting the 67 GTX cubes on my 66 Belvedere too.
Yeah, that might be, I don't know. I wouldn't do it on a 66.
You could do a whole series of videos about what looks right and what's not. And then you can get everybody mad at you.
Okay. All right. So the Mopar tradition has always been understated. Okay. So you got to understand this about like the Mopar head. Okay. It's always been to understate, not overstate. So
That's true.
and that's the thing that probably bothers me the most about cars like that Super B, right? Because if the car's a genuine Super B, okay, fine. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But you have to understand it was only a period of 3 years, okay? 4 years maybe, but 3 years, really, where the Mopars were flashy cars, okay? Where they were overstated. And it peaked in 71 with the billboards and all of that shit, right? But the Mopar tradition, right? The Mopar ethos, okay, has always been to understate. And that was the thing that always turned me on about Mopars. So you'd have this car that looked just like, excuse me, any just blend right in with traffic and in a parking lot. You wouldn't even walk past this thing. But if you look real carefully, you see 426 Hemi emblems.
Tiny little emblems.
Tiny little emblems.
On
right?
the plainest car you could find.
Plainest car you can imagine,
Yeah.
right? My favorite
That's
cars.
cool.
My favorite cars, the ones that I always look at and I'm just like, oh, I love that, are the 66 sedans, the two-door sedans, you know, with the Hemis. They're just so, it's just a box. It's like if you would have a 4-year-old kid, say, if you were to go to a 4-year-old kid and say, here, draw a car, okay? The 4-year-old kid would draw a 66 Belvedere sedan, right? Or a Coronet sedan. And the fact that those cars, you get those with Hemis and the 4-speed and everything else, that's what I like. That's Mopar, okay? So I think that's what bothers me more. When I see cars like that, like the Super B, that bothers me. Much cooler would have been just a regular everyday Coronet, you know, with hubcaps and everything else.
It doesn't sell though.
And a 440 under the hood. See, that would have been like, that's the spirit of Mopar.
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying, right?
I
Like-
agree with you.
And especially, okay, so the 68 Roadrunners and Super Bs.
Wait, Jerry Decker sent you a super chat.
Thank you.
I just want to let you know. I don't see a question from him yet, but I'm looking. And Diego M sent you a super chat too. He says, #1 fan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diego. Thank you, Jerry.
So the 68 Roadrunners and Super Bs, okay, are like the quintessential cars, okay? They came, there's no, just okay, like the Roadrunner, just little emblems on the door, a little emblem on the trunk lid, okay? And that's it. Bench seat, okay? Pop out windows, you know, taxi cab interior, rubber floor mats. That's the spirit of Mopar.
Right.
That's the spirit of Mopar. And then they gave in to the flash. You know what I mean? So 69 they started.
Temporarily.
And 69 was still a little okay. 69 was still cool. And in 70 they were just like, they just vomited, you know, like you know, high impact stuff out there. Because that's what the market wanted. That's what people wanted. And they came up with some beautiful cars. But that's not really the spirit of Mopar. The spirit of Mopar is a 4-door with a max wedge.
Right.
That's the spirit of Mopar.
Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that.
But hey, listen, the real Mopar guys know what I'm talking
I'm not
about.
smoking. It's this thing. Can you see it? Move it towards you, Tony.
Oh no, it's hot.
No, if you touch the bottom, it's going in my
Yeah,
face
it's
anyway.
this thing.
It's that thing. It's smoking like crazy.
Yeah, well, that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. Maybe put it on the table over there. Because it's really
No,
in
no,
front
no.
of
We
the
need this
camera.
to keep the mosquitoes away.
No, it's
Let
right
it
in front of the
smoke.
camera.
It's fine.
Vomited. Yes, Joe K. Chunga says, we hear ya. Not true, Kathy. A lot of folks agree with the understated look of Mopars. I didn't I agree with you?
Yeah, to be Mopar was
What's
to be
not true? What
to
did
be
I say?
Mopar was to be cool,
Right.
right? And you're not cool by like nobody's ever cool by like dressing in flashy, flamboyant
Right.
things. You know what I'm
I
saying?
agreed with Tony. I don't understand
Yeah,
what he's saying.
cool is James Bond. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm gonna wear my suit. You know, don't bruise my vermouth, right? And then I'm gonna take on the bad guys and I'll break a sweat, right?
Mopar was never cool, Thumper says.
Bullshit. Come on, Thumper. Pontiac was another one, man. The Super Duty Cats, the 64 Goats, the same way, the T-37s. There were so many cool understated Pontiacs. But everybody remembers the Judge.
Right. Joe Jackson is saying, you said you didn't think people would agree with you guys. I'm saying there are a lot who do. Oh, I think that doesn't sell right now. I think that people want the paint, you know?
People who don't know
They
any
want
better.
Sublime.
Right. They're not Mopar people.
Yeah.
They're just people. Hello, Maggie.
Panther Pink Cuda. Yeah.
But you see, it's not that I have anything against those cars. I do like those cars, but it's hard to. Well, you know what? I tell you what, if Chrysler made it during that period of time, the 60s, 70s, I love it anyway. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, I love all of Mopar's creatures equally. And that's another thing people don't understand. I hold, like, a Slant 6 Valiant in the same regard as a Hemi Superbird. Like, I know it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but I see both of those cars exactly the same way. I don't form a distinction between them. I love them because they both come from that engineering, that it's the design and engineering language that talks to me, and not what it is. I know that doesn't make sense to a lot of people, but Kathy will tell you, I will geek out over this, over the dumbest things. You know what I mean? Because I don't know.
I think the types of cars that you're talking about, like that you really love, like the sedans and stuff like that, if you put them on the car lot, very few people are really going to walk over to them.
Right, and Chrysler knew that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like if they're, at a muscle car lot, a contemporary one, next to the Sublime car, very few people are going to look at that plain Jane car.
Right.
They're going to look at the car with the scoops and the bright green paint. That's just the way it is. Let's see. James Coburn, cool.
But that particular car really got under my skin because it's just so long. It's like, okay, if you're gonna clone a Super Beam, go ahead, but make it honest. Make it as honest a car as possible.
It's kind of a halfway clone. Is that what you mean?
It's a clown. It's not a clone. It's a clown.
Clown car.
You know what I'm saying? And it's an insult to the original cars. It's an insult to the Mopar culture.
Right.
Clone it right. Okay, so you've got a two-door hardtop.
But whose fault is that? The person that sold the car to the dealership, or the dealership themselves for putting that out there on the lot and representing it?
The person who put it together. It's not the dealership. No, the dealership is okay. In this case, the dealership went ahead and said, yeah, okay, it's a 318 Coronet. Which all you got to do is look at the VIN number. It's a 318 Coronet. You can't miss that, right? So it's not like they tried to fraudulently pass it off as something that it wasn't. But it's deceptive just the same. And then, like, there's this whole bit about the race 318. They check the numbers on the block, and it comes back as a race 318. Like, do not enter the world of Mopar. Do not try to speak Mopar. Do not try to understand Mopar unless you're going to take it seriously.
There's lots of people that they could ask questions to, like if they weren't sure about something. Like there's a lot of people that are very knowledgeable out there.
but there's more people who just don't know. You know what I mean? They just don't
Right.
know. So, no, the dealer wasn't trying to fraudulently pawn the car off as illegitimate Super B. But by the same token, they priced it as a legitimate Super B. So you have to take that, they have to take that into consideration. But to me, a car like that is just an insult. So you don't have a coupe, right? You did okay. See, you didn't even whoever put the car together didn't even bother to research. Well, it wasn't even available. Was the Super B package even available on this body? Okay, and it wasn't. It wasn't. You could not get the Super B package in 1968 on a hardtop. It was a coupe only. So the person who put this car together didn't even you know.
I question how fast it was thrown together because the windshield was broken.
I know. And there was a penny stuck between
Yeah,
the
that
windshield
wasn't
and the.
cleaned. Like,
No,
it
it was
kind of
jammed
doesn't make
together.
sense.
So clone it as an RT. Okay, if you're gonna do that, then make it an RT.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
You know what I mean? Because
Right.
okay, so now at least your speedometer. Okay,
Mhm.
so it's 120 mile an hour speedo instead of 150. But if you cloned it as an RT, well then the sweep style speedo is in the spirit. That dashboard is in the spirit of the car.
Right.
The hardtop with the roll down back windows is in the spirit of an RT. Like so, that car would have been much less offensive to me if that car was painted.
But
Let's
what if
say,
it was an RT with a 318? You would still be upset.
well, yeah, at that point because
Right.
it's like it's supposed to be the opposite. Okay, it's supposed to be the opposite. You don't go out there with emblems and 383, 440, all this
It's
other
the
stuff.
opposite of the head, the Mopar
Yes,
head.
yes,
It's understated.
yes.
The Mopar head is understated. So when you start throwing numbers and all the doodads on the car,
Right.
trying to represent something that you're not, it's the opposite.
It's the
of what
opposite
Mopar
of the Mopar
is.
spirit.
Right.
Exactly. Then that is why I find that car so offensive on so many different levels. It's the exact opposite of the spirit of Mopar. You know. So, but yeah, if that car, let's go back to that car in it now. Okay, if it was trimmed out as an RT, and it had a 440 in it, well then okay, fine, and you painted it a color that was more appropriate to a '68 car, like a maroon or something. They had a few nice colors in '68, right? The B5 blue would have been a beautiful choice for that car. It's not quite high impact. It's QQ1. It's not B5 in '68. It's called QQ1. There would have been a beautiful color on that car. And trim it out as an RT. Stick a friggin' low compression 440 in there. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. And now you got to cut it. Okay, well, yeah, it may not have been born in RT, but it's got all the stuff that an RT should have had or would have had. I would have put 11-inch drum brakes in it because that's what an RT would have had. And call it a day. And then, like, if you really want to spice it up, throw a six-pack on it. Because six-packs were over the counter. There's so many. See, in my mind, you could really put a six-pack on any of those cars, and it passes to me. Because in 1970, 1969, 1970, 71, 72, 73, 74, you go to any Chrysler dealer and they have six-pack setups just sitting on the shelf and they would sell it to you over the counter and you bring it back to your house and 8 bolts later, you've got a six-pack on your car. So
But would you write six-pack all over the car then?
No, don't write six-pack
Right.
all over the car.
You can put it on, but don't say it.
Put it on, but don't put six-pack emblems on it.
It's true. But okay, so
And it's
how
like
do
the
you-
dual quad setups too. Like if
Right.
you got a 66, 67, 68, 69 car and you put the factory dual quad setup, well that's fine because any dealer would have had the dual quad setup for both the low deck and the high deck, the cast iron manifold with the 2 AFBs on it. You could have gone to any dealership and bought that and had it on your car in an hour.
Right.
So those setups, they pass as far as I'm concerned.
So how do you feel about when people respond by saying, well, it's their car, they can do whatever they want with it? So when they build a car, they can do whatever they want with it.
I build a car, and I do whatever I want with it.
Right.
I no question about it. But I never
Joe
try to
Case says it's called period correct. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I never ever try to pass off a car as something other than what it is. Ever. I will never put emblems on a car to pass it off as something that it's not. Or anything like that. In fact, my tendency is to go the opposite way. Like my 73 Roadrunner. When we do that car, it's going to be a stripe delete car. Because those cars came with that stripe that goes over the roof, over the C-pillar, and then goes to the front of the car. Putting it together as a stripe delete. because with just a little understated Roadrunner on it, because I don't like the flashy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It would have engine call out delete because I don't want it to say the engine size on. You know what I mean?
Well, you had made the comment too about like if you pull into, a meet with a car like that, people are gonna like
Oh please, yeah, they'll pick you
laugh at
apart.
you. Yeah,
Yeah, they
and
will
it's kind
absolutely
of
fucking.
true. So go ahead.
I don't even remember what I was gonna
I'm
say.
sorry. The dogs are distracting me.
Okay, here. So you want to talk about insane purist, okay? So if it's a '68 Roadrunner, right? If it's a '68 Roadrunner or a Super B, okay? I could never put a 440 in one of those cars.
68 Roadrunner or Super B,
Yeah,
right? Because it's income with a 440.
right. It would have to be a low deck. Now it could be a stroker. It could be 500. It could be a 510-inch stroker. That's fine. I don't care
Mm-hmm.
about the size of the cubic inch of the engine. But if I open the hood on either a Super B or a Roadrunner, a
Mm-hmm.
'68 Super B or a Roadrunner, I better not see the pad next to the distributor.
Right.
It's got to be a B engine or a Hemi.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You can't have a tall deck
Mm-hmm.
in a '60.
You'd
That's what I
have to
mean when
go
I say
find a
I'm a
GTX.
fanatical purist.
Yeah.
And the same way, if you open a hood on a GTX, you better see a pad.
Right. If you don't, then it's like, what is going on here?
Exactly. Exactly.
What is happening? November Lightning says amazing. He's clapping for you.
So when I say I'm a fanatical purist, that's what I mean.
Right.
And little stuff like if it's a 1968 car, I better see the black door buttons.
Oh yeah.
If I walk up on a '68 car, so I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. Okay. If I walk up on a '68 car, I don't look at marker lights. I don't look at the head and tail light. I don't look at grills. I don't look at what I look for. Right away I look for the black door button.
Yeah.
If I don't see the black door button,
Mm-hmm.
it's a bogus car. It's
That
a
drives you
total car
crazy.
for me.
I don't like Roadrunners if the grills aren't blacked out. The
Yeah, that
68,
too.
if they put the silver grill in.
Oh, it's gonna be argent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Argent. Yeah.
Do you remember when we painted the one inside?
Yeah, it came out beautiful.
Yeah, we had to make our own argent because it
Yeah.
wasn't available
Mm-hmm.
back
Oh,
then.
it's gorgeous. It looks original. Because we had an original one, that new old stock one that we bought years and years ago from
Right.
D'Agostino.
That's right.
It was really nice. It was the nicest part of that car.
Yeah, but we duplicated it perfectly.
We did. Yeah, it came out really nice. We can never tell anyone how to do it. Top secret.
I wouldn't
We've
remember how to do it either.
Hi guys, got black door buttons, Randy Bauer says. Awesome, Randy.
Oh, if it's a '68 car, it better have the black door buttons.
Mr. says my dad is a diehard Mopar guy. He's 83 years young, and I think he's got 120 in him easy. I'm going to subscribe him to your channel so he can tune into these hangouts. He'd really like these combos.
Cool.
Cool. Thank you. Vermont deal was ruined by people sharing it on YouTube. I guess that means us.
Sorry I wrecked everybody's fun, guys.
Oh.
But I bet you I got a lot of people got what they needed.
Yeah. Tony, what about missing blackout paint behind the grill?
See, okay,
Well, Burn says.
yes. Here's the thing with that, okay? Because I struggle with that. I struggle with that because if you look at all of the elite cars, okay, and when I say the elite cars, I mean like max wedge, lightweight cars, right? Hemi darts and whatnot. They're not painted black, okay? I like the body color to show through the grill, and you're not supposed to. And just like the wheel openings, I like the body color to show through the wheel opening. The factory always undercoated them, right? They put the undercoating on the not under the whole car, but they undercoated the wheel openings. So when you looked at the car from the side, it was blacked out behind the wheel. You didn't see any body color back there, and they And the job that they did, they just took flat black spray paint, literally, as the car was coming
I
down the assembly
remember
line.
it. Like when I was a kid, I remember seeing it. Some cars still had it.
Yeah, and
It was messy.
as the cars come down the assembly line, before they put the grill in there, somebody would just walk up with a can of flat black spray paint and go shh, shh, and that was it. That's how they did it. So if you're doing a concourse restoration, I say yes, you have to do that. But on any car that I do for myself, I always leave it body color because I like the way the body color looks poking in
Yeah.
through the grill.
I like the blackout.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. I don't know why.
It looks clean when you see the body color.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like the blackout.
Okay.
I think it makes the grill look cleaner. You know?
That is something I struggle with, though.
Is it?
Yes.
Are you going to any shows soon? Need a meet and greet.
I don't do meet and greets. If you run into me, that's great, but I don't do meet and greets.
I'm with Tony. I love seeing the body color showing through everywhere. Chris, do this.
Yeah.
Thumper says I have a 326 badge on my 55 Le Mans and it has a 455 in it.
Okay, that's cool. That's
fine.
cool.
You're right.
Always understate. Understating is cool.
EW says if you had to pick one car to last you through a modern depression, what would you pick? Would you go modern or older?
Oh, older for sure. Yeah. Well, so we're in the process of we're in a depression. It hasn't hit everybody yet, right? But it's just like you drop the rock in the water and it goes, psh, and then the ripples go out. Well, the average person is in the outer part of it and hasn't really gotten to them yet, but the rock's already been dropped, and then the impact's already started. So we are in a depression. Just people don't realize it yet.
I want to hear your answer.
Supply chains. What do you mean?
What car?
So supply chains are already hurt, and they're going to get a lot worse. And now the BRICS currency is due in August, I believe August 22nd, 23rd, something like that. The BRICS currency is due in August, and that is going to put a major hamper on trade because now, China, especially now, because China is part of BRICS, it's the C in BRICS, where most of our componentry comes from. Now they're going to want to settle trade in their own currency, which is the BRICS currency. So that now the dollar is going to have to be converted to the BRICS before a sale can be completed. So that's going to cause all kinds of chaos and havoc when it comes to replacement parts for things. So if you're going to ride out a depression, you want something that's repairable. You want something that you can MacGyver down the road, right? So as close to an all analog car as possible. Any pre-1980s car, honestly, anything with a carburetor and a mechanical fuel pump, and I think you're going to be fine. There's no specific one car, but anything with a mechanic, any analog car is going to get you through, and it's going to get you through hardcore.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, you go.
Hey, we need a carburetor for our XJ.
I can convert.
You can convert?
Yeah, I can convert.
Let's see. Can you tell the story about what happened to your 88 5-liter Mustang? Your theme.
87.
87. Hey, step it.
Let them out. I kept the car. I had the car for like almost exactly 1 year. And at the time, I was, hey. I had the car for like exactly 1 year. And at the time I had nitro sickness, like bad, like really bad. and I just wanted to get rid of everything in my life that wasn't related to nitro. That was it. Nitro was the only thing I could think about. So I did, and the Mustang went, and I sold it to a dealer. Um, I got just enough for it to cover what I owed on it, so I didn't take a loss on the car. Shush. But I didn't make anything on it either. And it wasn't it was famous, but it wasn't historic yet. It was just famous because it had been in some magazines, but car dealers at the time just really didn't care. And I wanted the car gone. I wasn't going to make another payment on it. It was $171.77. So I sold to a dealer, and then just moved on. And about 10 years ago, we had a guy looking for the car. He tracked us down, and he was a collector, and he wanted the car in the worst way, right? So we told him we still have the all of the original paperwork from it, and the bill of sale, and
Keychains,
the keychain. Like we have Kathy saved all the paraphernalia from this car.
the window sticker.
The window sticker. So the guy, he wanted the car. He was tracking down the car. And his quote, his words: if I could just find a taillight from it, I'll clone the rest of the car. Mm-hmm. Right? So I was fine. We'll see what we can do. So Kathy started. Was that?
I searched a lot.
Yeah, she searched. How long did you search for that car?
Probably like a solid 3 months.
So she searched for it for like 3 months. Found the trail. It had been sold from that dealer to another dealer to a guy who turned it into a race car, and he backed half the car. And he ran it for a couple of years, and it ended up in a body shop in Pennsylvania. And we found the body shop like a month after the car had been scrapped.
No, they didn't have it. I called the body shop,
right,
and they really didn't know what I was talking about, and they didn't have it. But then I found a site. It's a government site, and okay. I don't remember what it was. It was on my other laptop. I had saved it, and you can look up with the VIN all across the country where the car may be. And it did that, and it was scrapped in Pennsylvania. It was crushed. It was marked crushed. In Pennsylvania like 6 months earlier.
Yeah.
So okay. we literally just missed finding the car.
Yeah. So that's what happened with that car.
It was very sad. I had looked so hard, you know.
Yeah, I felt bad for her. See, it didn't mean anything to me. I was like, okay.
I to research, and I was trying to find it.
I was actually kind of relieved.
You said you were relieved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Because you don't want to try and repeat things, obviously.
Right, exactly.
Obviously. Once you've done something, you can't do that over again.
Right.
I get that. Okay, so somebody had made a comment. Okay, Dizzy Izzy says, you're wrong again, Tony.
Cool.
Lowest unemployment since 1956. Economy is rocking with no signs. It's slowing down.
What planet are you on? Yeah, dude. The numbers were all cooked. The jobs, yeah, if you want to count the average person having 2 jobs or 3 jobs as employment numbers, well then, yeah, you go ahead and do that. No, you're wrong.
No, you're wrong, Tony.
31 going on $32 trillion in debt, Dizzy Izzy. Okay, wrap your head around that number. 31 going on $32 trillion in debt. Tell me how good everything is.
It's good. Completely normal. Okay. UP Tinkering says, thanks for doing live shows. I never miss one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Charles Ehlert, will we have to become as resourceful as the Cubans with their 1950s American cars?
We're going to go through a period like that. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Is that an alcoholic Doritos? Because if not, you should give them a shot. No.
It's not. It's just fruit punch.
No, that was actually strawberry.
Oh, that was a strawberry, right?
Yeah. Did you like it or no?
It was delicious. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. We shouldn't have any national debt. Period. Chris Duda.
That's right.
Let's see. I agree. It's coming. Steve B. Fire up the printing press, Chris Cadman says. Coy Boy BC, what is your opinion about the old 361 Mopar engine?
It's a small bore 383. They're good.
Let's see. Dakota says, Tony, what might be a good thing to invest in before it gets much worse? This is not financial advice.
This is not financial
Dakota?
advice. Go buy.
This is a car channel.
Dakota, go buy as much silver as you can.
But we don't support that in any way, or you're going to lose all your money. So don't listen to anything that we say.
Don't tell me he's going to lose. Dakota, go buy as much silver as you possibly can.
This is not financial advice. Don't tell him that.
I can't. Don't worry.
Brett McIntyre is laughing. This is not any advice, right?
Right, it's not any advice. Go buy as much silver as you possibly can.
Let's see.
If you understand traditional ratios, you don't have to be a speculator. You don't have to. All you have to do is know historic ratios, okay? And the numbers that you need to be concerned with, right? Very simple, and there's no conspiracy stuff. There's nothing to speculate. This is just look at the Dow gold ratio, okay? Look at the Dow gold ratio is the first one you need to look at, and then look at the gold silver ratio, and then you'll understand why I say go buy as much silver as you possibly can.
According to Tony, gas was going to be $20 a gallon by last year.
Hang on, baby.
EW, thanks for the answer. My depression/EMP proof car is my 1922 Model T Ford. It won't get me there fast, but it gets me there every time.
It'll get you there. It'll get you there. Just keep this in mind, right? So we are energy. Okay, this continent that we're on, okay, is energy independent. Right? We have enough fuel to keep us going for the next 300 years. Okay? If there was no importing, nothing came or went, we only worked on what we currently own, what we currently sit on. We are energy independent for the next 300 years. But the powers that be have decided that that's not the way to do things, and that it's going to be, we're going to have to import. Okay? We're not going to produce our own, we're going to import. The reason that the price of oil is where it is right now is because the Strategic Petroleum Reserve has been drained. We're down to 1980 levels now. 40-something% of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve has been fed into the pipeline over the last 2 years to keep the price in this $3 range. Where we are, it's $4, $5 in other places. But the price of gas, the price of oil, is being stabilized right now by draining the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. So just keep that in mind. We're going to reach a point now where the Strategic Petroleum Reserve is not going to give up anymore. And you've got oil trading in yuan now, right? So keep that in mind too. Saudi Arabia is selling oil they're taking yuan as payment for oil. Soon, next month, August, they'll be taking the BRICS currency, the gold-backed currency, in trade for oil. So there are things happening right now on a macroeconomic, a global macroeconomic scale that have never, ever, ever happened before. This is the calm before the storm.
Let's see. It's amazing how many litters one pig can have in a year's time, Dougster says.
Yes. Yes. Many pigs. Maggie, you doing okay?
Keek says now they want electric. People thinking that their resources, economic and ecologic, but in QC, they want to do around 20 to 30, mine almost only for battery resources. Oh, mining only for battery resources. Right?
Forget that. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Pipe dream.
Not Tech Support sent you a super chat.
Thank you.
Love your thoughts on car mods. Still remember an old quote, who wants to murder out windows? Murder isn't fun and cars should be fun. End quote, give or take. What happens to that? Are people still doing that? Murdering out their cars?
No, that's over, I think.
It's over? We're done with that?
That's over. When you see anything murdered now, you just automatically know it's a douchebag.
Oh. Good grief, Tony. Let's see. So Mopar Man says, I laughed at the stupidity of people who chose 5 bars of chocolate over a bar of silver on a YouTube channel video I watched.
I know. I've seen that too.
It's
I've
quite
seen
a
that
lot.
too.
What are you doing? Oh. Okay, can you answer a question? Because
Sure.
the dog has 2 bones and
Okay.
Maggie wants one.
All right.
All right, so Tony, do you remember Briggs Chevrolet from South Amboy, New Jersey?
Sure.
My LS6 is from there. It seems they were known as a HP dealership.
Yeah, no. Briggs was right over the bridge. They were in Perth Amboy or Woodbridge, like one of those areas right there. And I was too young. I was like, well, so I was 8 in 1970. So obviously I missed the first hand muscle car years as far as that goes. But I remember the Briggs emblem on a lot of really hot cars on Staten Island and in the area at that period of time. And they sponsored Jungle. That was a big thing too.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. Tony's chickens like to bark. Yeah, we don't have to eat chicken. Your dog flipping out is making my dog flip out. I'm
Nice,
sorry that
nice.
they're a little barky. We're working
A little
on that.
barky. We have to work on that.
Can you fire up the green car and do a burnout? Right where it is, Tony.
No, that car hasn't been started in almost 3 years. It's just been sitting back here.
No, not that long.
2 years.
Will it start?
It's been 3 years. Actually, yeah. Like right now, it's 3 years because we were still in the old place
Oh, goodness.
when we parked it over here.
Brett McIntyre says, Tony, please teach us how to build mile per gallon in a classic.
That's what the white 64 is. It's in the shop. That is going to be a hypermiler build. What you have to understand is that, like right now, people aren't gas mileage conscious. So I can throw a bunch of videos out there, but they're not going to get the kind of views that we will once things change a little bit. So that's on hold.
So you only do videos for views?
Yes, I only do. Well, yes, because that's our business. We do videos and try to get views.
That's crazy.
It's trying to get views.
All
Yes, that's what we do. So it's not time yet to. I don't want to use that ammo yet, but it'll be a big part of the channel going forward if things go the way I believe that they're going to go.
Okay, Jerry Decker sent you a super chat.
Thank you.
Tony found a 71 Roadrunner in a barn, 444 speed, decent condition. What do you think it's worth? Been there 40 plus years. Ooh.
Check the VIN on that because the only 71 440 Roadrunner would have been a 6-pack. So check the 5th digit for a VIN. For a VIN. Oh my God. Check the 5th digit of the VIN for a V. Because 71 a 440 would have been a GTX.
Did they do Roadrunner GTXs in 71 or only
72 they did Roadrunner GTX. Okay. Which is one of the most interesting cars out.
I know, right?
Yeah, the 72 Roadrunner GTX is probably the most interesting visual car of all the Mopars.
Been decoded, yeah. He's asking you what you think it's worth. Like, what kind of condition is it in?
Okay, but that's why I'm telling you. First thing you do is because if it's a V code car, 71 Roadrunner with a 440 should be a V code, which 446 pack. So. Oh God, yeah.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. That's you're looking at probably a $50,000 to $70,000 car.
Depending on the condition.
Depending on the condition, of course, right?
I mean, there was a time when just shells were going for 20 grand.
A Survivor quality 71 V code car is a $75,000 car. Survivor quality, and then you go down from there.
Joe K's asking, when is it time to move the mule? Joe K, we're trying.
Ron, Body Man Ron is.
We love Body
Man Ron.
We love him dearly.
But the Charger is taking an enormously longer amount of time to get done than we had anticipated. So.
We can't move anything
I
yet.
can't move anything yet.
That charger has to come out.
The
before we
charger's
can
got to come
move
out before this
the
thing
car.
goes there.
So you were sanding, Ron was sanding.
Yesterday, Ron was there. But you have to understand now, right? It's the body work on that car is his puppy, okay? And it's not my
You
place.
can't overstep.
Yeah, I can't overstep my bounds
Right.
and just take things on myself.
Right.
I
Plus, you hurt your back last week, so that didn't help either.
well, but that's besides the point. It's not my place to step in and start doing things. I ask him, what can I do, right? You know, and sometimes when he's working on the car, what I can do is go get him some energy drinks or whatever it happens to be, you know, so I'm his helper. So unless he gives me a specific instruction on what to do with the car, I don't do anything on it. So that's why it's taking as long as it is.
Yeah. Hopefully soon we'll be able to move that out and bring the car over. Good manners, Tony.
Well, you have to know your place.
Yeah.
You have to know your place.
Let's see. Plymouth Valiant, bro. What you think?
If you're looking for a nice solid Valiant, there's a guy named Andy Mays who lives over in, I just had him fill a nitrous bottle for me. He's over in Nolansville, and he's got a 69 Valiant that's solid straight car, and he wants short money for it. So if you're in the market for a 69 Valiant two-door, look up Andy Mays in Nolansville, Tennessee.
Is that where you got your nitrous filled?
I got the 15-pound bottle filled over there.
Oh, okay.
I want to get all the bottles filled before there's any type of shortage or anything like that.
Okay. Let's see. My name here says, thoughts on short filling a block.
It helps. In most cases, it's not necessary. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say.
When is it useful?
If you've got a detonation-prone big block Chrysler, well, you could short fill all of them. But when I think of short fill, I automatically think of a big block. If you got a detonation-prone combination that would, let's say, tend to rattle caps loose, like for instance, you tear your motor down, okay, and you find that there are signs of detonation on the rod bearings. You find that there's signs of cap walking, okay. So you take the main cap out, and you don't see like an even surface. You see like a blotchy kind of surface. It means the cap was walking, right? That's when you want to fill the bottom of the block, because the block will want to distort a little bit. Torque will, remember, blocks are flexible. So the block will want to twist, it will want to distort, and it'll walk the caps. At that point, you fill the bottom of the block to add rigidity to it. You don't want to go more than, let's say, 3/4 of the water jacket. It's important that the top inch or two, it's important that the top 2 inches or so of the cylinders have adequate water circulation, and you definitely don't want to inhibit water circulation to the cylinder head, because that's really where you want to pull your but that's when you would want to fill the block.
Dr. Art's Hot Rod Rehab.
Dr. Art, what's happening, brother, man? We got Dr. Art over one night for this stuff.
As soon as like the mosquitoes go away.
He's working on all kinds of cool go-kart things.
Yes, you should do live with him.
We should.
Tony's limo company would be a money maker.
No, I'm
Tony's
good.
limos, no. Let's see. Have you ever had a 1950s power wagon?
No.
Dakota's asking, can you fill them with just regular Quickcrete?
No.
What do you fill them with?
No. The proper material for that is DevCon, and that's the brand name of it, DevCon. But what it is it's the same stuff they make bowling balls out of. It's not concrete. Concrete is too rigid. Concrete will crack, and it doesn't have the right expansion and contraction. So the concrete won't expand and contract at the same rate that cast iron does. So what happens is, over time, the concrete will just break up. That bowling ball material stays there. The bowling ball material has the same or very similar expansion and contraction characteristics as cast iron. So that's what you want to use for that.
Early work tomorrow. Good night, John M says.
Good night, Maggie. Come over here.
Bowling balls are made with resins now. Chris Freemaster.
Well, I'm giving you old information.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had a block filled in a very, very long time.
I can't talk if they're gonna bark like right next to me. Let's see.
Maggie?
Sean Peterson says, love the car talk, but really do enjoy your financial wisdom too.
Well, thank you.
Let's see. Give this a thumbs up, Scarlet Fire says. Did you guys give it a thumbs up? Or we're not supposed to ask for thumbs up?
No.
Well, yeah, we love the thumbs up.
I love the thumbs up.
We appreciate it very
I
much.
can't ask for it because that would be...
What is she doing? We're trying to be professional. Come on.
Good luck with that.
You can't.
Maggie!
Okay.
What does she want?
My dog has a crush on Maggie, Chris Cadman says.
Everybody has a crush on Maggie. Maggie is just the most beautiful dog.
Brett McIntyre says, are you aware of the DV water injection video? He describes the octane booster to compensate for compression. All right, go inside.
I haven't seen it, but I'm very familiar with water methanol injection for detonation suppression.
Sorry, everybody. We have dog issues. All right. Where are we? Tony, you should paint the Charger yellow and put a Daytona wing on it.
Right. Then I'll bring it over to a consignment car lot and let them have at it, right?
That'll sell quickly, Tony. You should try it. Oh my goodness, that would be terrible. They're laughing. Let's see. Keek says, hey Tony, I see you talk about transmission, which I appreciate in your channel. Did you ever talk about transmission suggestion or one you enjoy the most?
What transmission do I enjoy the most?
Mm-hmm.
You see, I like the stupidest things. Like you guys are gonna, like, you're not gonna see everybody wants to, 727, 833, right? My favorite transmission is the A230.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say that.
I love the A230. I can't help it. It's just always been like since I was a kid. I've always loved the A230.
We know that ain't Bugler. It absolutely is Bugler. Feed the dog peanut butter sandwich. Yeah. Bad 66 Chevelles. Any suggestions for fitting 57 Bel Air floor pans to a 57 Plymouth Firewall? Custom tribute car build.
You want to use 57 Chevy Plymouth or 57 Chevy floor pans on a 57 Plymouth
Firewall.
Well, the 57 Plymouth is going to be a full frame car. So I don't really see. You know what's funny, right? I could picture the front firewall of a Tri-5 Chevy, but I can't picture the firewall to floor intersection on a 57 Plymouth. That's weird, right? It shouldn't be. I mean, I'm sure you're gonna have to add something to make the transition, but I mean, given the fact that they're both full frame cars, go for it.
Okay, Dave Smith has a long question.
Sure.
Okay. What's the difference between a 3/8 and 5/8 inch reach on spark plug for big block? I understand one reaches deeper into the combustion chamber than the other. Is there an advantage?
there are no long reach big block cylinder heads, with the exception of the 426 Hemi, which oddly enough, I'm gonna do a whole video on this. I think, right, because one of the problems with the Hemi is the long reach plug. The plug is right in the center of the dome, and during that overlap period, it gets washed with the intake charge. The intake charge during overlap literally passes right through the spark plug, the center of the spark plug, and it's one of the reasons Hemis you have such a hard time keeping Hemi plugs clean, right? Um, and I always wondered, why didn't they use a shorter reach plug, and instead of threading it all the way through, just have a slightly open, like, in other words, like if you were looking at the combustion chamber side, if you were to just chamfer open the bottom of the spark plug hole and then use a short reach plug, you would eliminate that washing. But that's a whole different thing to speculate about. But big block heads all use the short plug. Small blocks use the long plug. Big blocks use the short plug.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Chalsa says, why do so many people with bad taste take it out on Mopars? Strobe stripes and Superbird wings on everything. Why?
Oh, the thing that gets me is the billboards. Like, you'll see like somebody have like a '66 Belvedere, and they'll put they'll put billboards and paint it plum crazy.
What did we see billboards on recently that it didn't even belong nowhere near that car? What was it?
I saw a '73 Roadrunner. 73, 74 Roadrunner that had billboards on it.
Yeah, I remember we saw something and we were like, they don't even fit. Why would you do that?
Because the unsophisticated eye, right, can't discern, right? They just like in other words, like,
what has class and what doesn't.
Yeah, it's like they see strobe stripes on they so they go through a coffee table book of classic Mopars, right? And they see a Cuda and it's got strobe stripes on it, and they see another Cuda and it's got billboard stripes on it, and they see they see these things, but they don't understand that they only belong on certain cars in certain years.
Yeah, it's like they're kids and they pick out all the little things that they like and then they all want it on one car.
And that's what they did with that Super Bee.
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
It's funny.
All that car needed was some billboards, and it would have been perfect.
Maybe we're very particular. That's okay. It's okay to be particular. It's okay to be a little discerning. It's all right. Can't fix stupid, Brett McIntyre says. Tony, you're putting Donk's rims on a Mopar. That's just a cancer of the rims and tires.
Yeah, see, I'm a purist like that too. You know what I mean? It's got to have, like an A-body car. Okay, an A-body car has to have 14-inch rims.
The way you said that was funny.
Unless it's a '68 Hemi car, okay. But aside from that, A-body car has to have 14-inch rims. A B-body cannot have anything bigger than a 15-inch rim. That's just the way it is. Just the way it's got to be.
There are rules. There's rules.
There are rules you gotta follow.
Your purest soul is disturbed.
Oh, when I see rally rims, when I see rallies on a '69 and earlier car, my soul just crumples up and it just wants to fall over in the gutter and bleed.
Oh my goodness. Hilarious. Let's see, Tava says, even my A-body Ute has 14-inch slots.
Yes. The slot rim is perfectly acceptable on everything. Day 2 modifications, any Day 2 modification on any classic era Mopar is fine by me. It's good by me.
Do people know what Day 2 is? Some people do.
I'm going to do a video on Day 2 modifications. And the thing about Day 2 modifications, It does not have to be vintage speed equipment per se. Like for instance,
It is nice though.
it is nice, but okay. So visually, if you're gonna do like day two stuff, like if let's say you're gonna throw valve covers on it. Well, a modern valve cover is not good. That's not acceptable. It's got to be a period correct valve cover. But the headers can be modern ceramic coat, nice headers. You know what I'm saying? The intake manifold doesn't have to be an old Offenhauser dual port or whatever the hell it is, right? The intake manifold can be a modern intake manifold. The carburetor can be a modern carburetor. So day two modifications, in my mind, means things that are straightforward improvements over the stock parts for the sake of performance.
Brett
But they
is
should.
asking, how can people know what day two stuff is?
It's subjective. It's subjective. You know what I'm saying? Um, it's subjective. Like I know that
It
anything.
sounds dangerous for the average person if it's that subjective.
Yeah, it's
Charlie Room is saying this advice doesn't apply to Dodge trucks, right?
yeah, Charlie. It does. Charlie's as Mopar is. Charlie had some cool cars. Remember that Coronet I bought from you? It was a 361 4-speed 66 Coronet. Do you remember that thing with the inland shifter?
Let's see. Fire burning side pipes. Do you know what the guy paid for the blue car at Kiwis?
I do not.
No,
I do not. He paid a lot. I'll tell you that. He paid a lot.
we don't ask. You
I don't. I don't
You don't
ask.
want to
I don't
know,
really
to
want to
be
know.
honest.
But judging by the trim level and like they invest a lot of money in that car. New bumpers, new trim everywhere. You know what's funny? Okay, they went and they put these chrome cougars on the air cleaner and the valve covers. Like they went crazy detailing this car. All of the visual stuff that you're like, oh, that's like jewelry. That's so nice. That's and underneath of it is just it's like it's a horror show.
Billy Bob Holcomb is screaming, "Stop painting stripes on the roof."
Stripes on the roof.
Stripes don't belong on the roof of any cars.
No, no. Well, the Roadrunner strobe
Mm-hmm.
goes over the roof.
Do you like that?
No, I hate that.
Do you like it on a 71 and 72?
No,
You don't like it on those cars either?
I don't like any stripes.
We had that orange 71 that had it.
I know, but I don't like the stripes. I mean, it had it, right? But I would
Mm-hmm.
not have put it on there.
Was it on our 72? Or
No,
it was a repaint with lots of Bondo,
lots
and
of
I guess they
Bondo.
just didn't put the stripes back on.
No, I don't like stripes. Period.
Hmm. I think it looks okay on the 71 and 72.
Okay, I don't hate it on a 71, 72. I hate it on a 73, 74.
Because you think it looks like Starsky and Hutch stripes.
Yeah, it's
Right.
just
Different type of
overdone.
stripe.
If you ever see a 73, 74 that's a striped elite car, they look good.
Yeah, they're nice.
The only ones you'll ever see are vinyl roof cars, which wrecks it,
Mm-hmm.
right? Those cars do not look good with vinyl roofs. But vinyl roof 73, 74s were striped elite by default. I like striped elite. I like call out elite.
What about period mods? I love the gold anodized Moroso valve cover / air cleaner combo.
Yeah, that's D2 stuff.
So that counts as day two. You need to make a list of what's day two.
Okay, well, like
So
slag
if somebody
hammer.
shows you their car, you're like, it's okay, that's day two.
Slag hammer is the perfect example of like day two, extreme day two, but day two. Like everything on that car is period correct to 1970, 71,
Slag
72,
hammer.
like that. There isn't a single thing on that car. Wait, let me think before I make a liar out of myself.
The Roadrunner is day two.
The plastic fuel cell is not day two, but it's necessary. Um, I'm trying to think of anything that's on slag hammer that wouldn't be day two. No, 100% of that car is day two, and our '68 Roadrunner is day two. Like it's an extreme version of day two, but literally not a single nut, bolt, washer, or clamp, anything on that car is newer than, let's say, 1975 to '77, that range. So
I saw somebody had made a comment that they said that the '68 Roadrunner, because you painted under the hood and under the car white,
th-
that wasn't correct.
it's not
And
correct. It's day two,
right,
and
I
it's
saw you answered them saying it was day two,
right.
but they were taking exception with that because you were talking about the
Day okay, so for
super
people
big
who
in
aren't familiar,
quotes.
for people who aren't familiar, day two. All right, so day one is the day it's picked up from the showroom. Right, it's a brand new car. You just drove it off the showroom floor. That is day one. Day two happens 3 to 5 years later. Okay, where the car is used. It's used in traffic. It's used as a daily driver. It's got the usual dings and dents and so on and so forth. And then you decide you're going to hot rod it. Okay, so day two is what happens when it goes to the second owner. You generally speaking, and the second owner says, "I'm putting headers on this thing. I'm going to put this on it. I'm going to hot rod it. I'm going to put gears on it. I'm going to do all kinds of shit to it." That's day two. So if you're dealing with a 1960s car, okay, and you want it to be an accurate day two car, you look at modifications that were done within, let's say, a 5 to 10 year window of when that car was produced. So if it's a 1965 car, you're good to like 1975, and at that point, like the gold Moroso valve covers and the air cleaner, the velocity stacks, that's all fine. It fits. It looks good.
Riff Raff Ruckus says painting your engine compartment is not a day two mod.
No.
That's what they said.
How old are you, my friend?
I don't know.
Because I was there. I was day two. Like, literally, I was day two. Okay? And the the most built cars of the day all had white undercarriages. They had white under the hood. Race cars of the day had white everywhere. And the reason is a practical reason for it is because if you're going to service the car in minimal light, the white it amplifies any light that's around, so it makes it easier to work on the car without having to hold a flashlight.
Was that a regional thing or was that kind of nationwide?
I think it's actually more of a West Coast thing than an East Coast thing.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But no, the white undercarriage, the white under the hood is definitely a '70s, very common '60s and '70s thing.
Okay. Do any 1967 Mopars have side lights? E-Rod is asking.
No, no. '67 has zero marker lights. '68 all have round marker lights. '69 have rectangular reflectors. Except for the higher end cars, they have lights. And '70 is all rectangular and rectangular, ballpark rectangular, because there's slashes and stuff like that. They're styled. '70 and '71 are styled, and in '72 you go to the cheap plastic stick-on ones that hang off the side of the body.
Oh, those are nice, aren't they?
Well, you know, if that's what the car was born with, that's what it was born with.
I know. What are your favorite marker lights, Tony?
71 Plymouth.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Those your favorites?
those are my favorites.
They don't stick on, they bolt on, Mexican Spec says?
Oh, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They're just stuck on the side of the car.
Black Engine Bay, oh yeah, said no sane person.
'72 was the year of cheapness. '72 was the year that they went to just the plain dog dishes, right? And the unstyled marker lights, and '72 was just the year of like, I give up. You know what I mean? Like,
I give up.
I give up. 72
They
is the
lost
year of
their
I
will.
give up.
So what happened in 1972 to make them give up, Tony?
They stopped paying attention to those little details, those little bits of jewelry and like I said, marker lights were one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because previous to that, each of the bodies, each of the cars had very styled marker lights.
Right.
And the quarter panels were inset.
Mm-hmm.
They had insets for the marker lights to go into.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? So it was like that extra little bit of styling.
It's like, you know what? I really don't care anymore. I'm just gonna slap this on the side of the car.
Right. You look at the dog dish hubcaps. You know, the Dodge had the red circle with the Fratzog in the center. The Plymouth had those beautiful stainless caps with Plymouth division on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then 72 was just like, poof, here's your generic hubcap. Fuck it, I don't care anymore. Here's your generic marker lights. Poof, I don't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So 72 is like the year of I just don't care anymore.
Must have been because something happened in 1971. I don't know.
Gee, I wonder what could have happened in
I'm not
1971.
sure.
To,
Okay, let's see. Slant 6 had design input from Rolls-Royce. Engineering was intense, Jim Dupree says.
I don't ever recall reading anything about that. That's possible.
Every manufacturer went cheap in 72, Adam Woodland says.
Yeah.
Redneck 5356 says, I remember white undercarriage in Massachusetts.
Yeah. Yeah, the hottest cars always had a white undercarriage. The poser cars always
You
had
gotta
a,
make a handbook so everybody knows how to be cool.
I should,
You
right?
should, yeah.
The poser cars always had painted undercarriages, but with lights hung up underneath them. So they would hang lights off the rear ends. They'd hang lights all underneath the
In
car.
what year?
70s, middle to late 70s.
I don't remember that.
It was before you were
I
aware
was
of stuff.
little, yeah.
I bet you these guys remember though. So yeah, the poser cars had painted undercarriages, but lights hung underneath, right? And the light, the light would generally be the color of the body color. So if you had a blue car, you'd have blue lights underneath. You'd have a red car or a car in the red spectrum, you'd have like red lights underneath.
My earliest memories of that type of car was like that they were jacked up in the back.
Yes, they'd
really
always be
high,
jacked up in the
and
back,
the
right?
rear end was like special.
Mhm.
You know, painted special.
You could always tell a poser car because it was jacked up in the back.
Yeah, big time.
Right.
Yeah.
A serious car would sit level
Most cars were jacked up in the back.
because everybody was trying to emulate
When I was
that
a
look.
little kid, yeah.
Well, that's because they were
I
trying to look
remember.
like funny cars.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
Okay.
because see, they didn't like to an 18-year-old kid who's
I'm
modifying
going to say
his car.
like 1975, 76 when I was little. But the cars that I would see drive down the street.
They were all jacked up in the back and stuff like that because they were emulating the funny car look, not realizing that this is hurting your performance. So serious cars of the day would have a white painted undercarriage or just a body color undercarriage. It would always be clean, always sanitary underneath the cars, and it would sit level. Where the poser cars would always be jacked up in the back. That's how you knew. Oh yeah, you can race this guy. He's got like Gabriel hijackers and like lights hanging underneath and
Shackles
N50.
and air shock.
Yeah.
Shackles, a lot of cars
Yeah.
with shackles.
It's like, go ahead, go race that guy. You're gonna beat that guy. If a car rolled in there, and and the thing was sitting level and it was sanitary and it didn't have any like gimmicks on it, maybe a couple of decals in the window, that sort of thing, you knew that was a car that you had to really think twice before you're going to try to race it. But yeah, as soon as you seen the car jacked up in the back and the N50s and the lights underneath and
that thrush sticker.
the thrush, the thrush stickers and the fur carpet on the dashboard, and these guys used to put fur everywhere inside their cars. You were like, just go ahead and race that thing, you're going to beat it.
It's funny.
It's true though.
I do remember the rear ends being white, and that was before I knew anything about
Yep.
cars. I remember that they were white.
Now I can tell you, you guys are going to see this car this year. It's been sitting in the garage for 10 years now. We haven't really done anything with it. But the 68 Roadrunner is coming out, and you'll see what I'm talking about with that car, because it's B5 blue, and it's painted white underneath. It's painted white in the wheel openings and shit, and it pops. I mean, like, the white adds so much to it. Like, I can't begin to tell you. Like, you park that car out in the sun, and it just pops. It's beautiful.
Robert Rio says, my friend's first mod to his 78 305 Camaro back in 86 was air shocks, chrome nugget rims, and a chrome rear end cover.
Yeah. Yep. And slapper bars. And if you pulled up next to a Mopar and it had slapper bars, just go ahead and race them. Just, just go ahead and race them. Don't think twice about it. Just race him. You're going to win.
Funny. Dust Devil Garage says, so basically you're talking about my duster. Ha 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 ha.
I guess so.
Alex Miller sent $2 super chat. He says, is it common for classics to overheat? 1964 Catalina.
Common? No. Not supposed to overheat. Check all the usual suspects. I mean, partially clogged radiator. That's usually what it is. I gotta tell you, most of the time, you know what you do. Look at the core of your radiator. You know the fin parts, and if you see any like a green color in there, you see any discoloration, it's clogged.
Koi Boy BC says, I got slapped bars on my rat rod gasser. Charlie Roma says, I put slapper bars on so they thought I was slow. Rick Murphy says, hello from Jersey. Love watching you, and your duster is the best.
Thank you.
Let's see. Dipping Glass says, I still like the raked look from the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, so there are different degrees of it, okay? So there's the California rake, and the California rake is the NASCAR rake, right? So that's not raised in the back, but lowered in the front. So your ride height's going to stay the same in the back, and then you lower the front just subtly, okay? That's the California rake / NASCAR rake, and it looks good. It looks good. Then you got the poser boy rake, where they just jack the back of the car way up. And the reason they did that was because if you go back to the 1970s, funny cars were the thing. Every magazine had funny cars on the cover. Every drag strip was running funny car shows, right? And funny cars, what people don't realize is that the funny car chassis is dead level, actually down. A funny car chassis actually goes like this, okay? But it's level front to back. But now you mount the body on it. For the body to clear the tires, the body gets mounted on a rake. And it actually acts as a wing, okay? So if you don't know any better, you transfer that look over to a street car. And it's the exact opposite of how you want a street car to work. So if you look at, okay, so the actual ride height of Mopars is supposed to be, well, it varies from car to car, right? But the measurement is taken at the back of the rocker and the front of the rocker, and it's generally like between 1/2 and 2 inches, like higher at the front of the rocker than the back of the rocker. So the car actually sits nose up just a hair. And that's the proper stance for a full suspension, full bodied type of car.
$2 garage sent you a super chat.
Thank you.
Isn't that the street machine look?
The street machine, street machine came about in the very late 80s, or very late 70s, they started using that term, street machine. And then the pro street thing happened from there. And that's just a clown show. That whole fucking thing is just a clown show.
You don't like it?
No, that retard Rick Dobbertin and that. So see, that was
who?
Actually, I called him a retard in one of the magazines back then.
Who?
It was a guy named Rick Dobbertin that was built in these like. See, to me, it was an ultimate perversion. So what they were doing was they were taking like so you had the street machine thing, okay, and the street machine thing evolved into this pro street thing, and they had all of the trappings of a real race car.
That was big in car craft promoted that, didn't it?
Yeah, and it was everywhere, pro street, everywhere, right? But these cars wouldn't run if you drop them off a fucking mountain. They wouldn't run, you know what I mean? And it was, and that was the thing. Like, they were popular, but they were like all the magazines were featuring them, and like all of the like people who wanted to be like, I'm gonna be somebody. They would build these pro street cars, okay, but like absolutely no thought given to backing up the looks with performance. So, but there were exceptions to that rule. So you take like Lisk's Hemi Challenger, um, that was real functional pro street cars, but most of them were just they were show cars. They were just show cars.
Everybody's saying traction bars. Let's see. Do you have any advice for bending exhaust pipes? Then me go burning.
Not really. I mean, I find somebody with a pipe bender and say, hey man, can you do this for me? It's the easiest way.
Oh, so Granny, it was Granny's Blue Waffle was saying, I feel hella young. I don't know what the hell slapper bars are, and they're answering him traction bars. I was like, why is everybody saying traction bars?
Slapper bars are used on cars that have a symmetrical leaf spring. Okay, so a symmetrical leaf spring means that the axle is located in the center of the spring. So here's your spring, okay, and the center of the spring is where they mount the axle, and they use a bar underneath because when the axle is mounted in the center of the spring wants to do this in the front, okay, the front half of it under torque. So they use a slapper bar to come up and contact the car and keep the front of that spring from doing this. Mopars have a leaf spring that has the rear end mounted in the front third, right? And because it's mounted in the front third, a slapper bar isn't necessary. On a Mopar, you put an extra clamp or two around the springs, and that's all you need. So when you see a Mopar and it has slapper bars, you know that the guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's not savvy.
Okay, so my chat stopped on here.
Okay.
But it looks like we're still on, so I'm checking on my phone to see what the chat is. Okay, let's see. Billet aluminum everywhere.
I hate that.
Lout says. Okay.
I hate
All right,
that.
my chat is back. Okay.
That's another pet peeve of mine. Billet aluminum on classic era cars.
You don't like that?
I hate that. Those March pulley setups. I see that. It's like I just want to fucking throw up.
You okay?
Yeah.
You alright? We're worried about you, Tony. Loud Pipe Save Live 69 says, wasn't the whole point of jacking up the back to fit wide tires?
Well, they did that too, but it was a look that they were after. It wasn't because those wide tires didn't necessarily give you the bite that you were looking for either. N50s weren't they weren't the hot setup. You would have had better traction by going to a larger diameter because contact patch not only goes side to side, but contact patch also goes front to back. So your faster cars would have the tire inside the wheel opening, the back of the car sitting at a reasonable height, but a much taller diameter tire. So you have the contact patch front to back. So again, you talk about the guys who are just going for a look. Oh, I got to put the big tires, jack it up, and it's going to look like Jungle Jim's car. And it was a goofy period of time.
Adil Khan, I hope I said that right, says hello from Toronto, Canada.
What's happening?
Okay, they're saying that the chat, like, they couldn't type into the chat for a second, like it stalled, but it's back again. Yeah, like I wasn't getting anything coming up on here. Chris Greenaway, UTG, I love the one coil cutoff stance that was popular in the 60s, where you'd only cut half of a coil off the front, so it slumped over in the front when back was level.
That's the California rake.
Okay.
California / some people will call it a NASCAR rake. If you're down here, it's called a NASCAR rake, and if you're anyplace else, it's called a California rake.
What about Caltrax? Jackie Everhart said.
See, now, they sell a lot of Caltrax. They sell a lot, and it's like, These guys with freaking Mopars just like, oh, I gotta have Caltrax. I gotta get me some Caltrax, okay? But two examples, okay? Like, all right, so a bottle rocket has its stock leaf springs, dead stock leaf springs, okay? And the only thing, and they're not even the high performance springs. And the only modification to those is just I took the clamps off the back and added two more to the fronts. And that car leaves like a freaking animal. I'm getting mid 160, 60 foots out of it, and it has a lot more in it. I got to work with the tires now. I got to start tuning with tire pressure and stuff like that. But that car just absolutely on the hit, it's boom, and it hikes the front end and you go, right? But that's not really impressive. What's really impressive is if you look at like Dave Dudek's Roadrunner, okay, or any of the Mopars that run the Fast series. These guys are running in the 9s, quarter mile, in the 9s, on polyglass tires and dead stock leaf springs. The leaf springs in Dudek's Hemi Roadrunner are the same springs that I have in Bottle Rocket. They're just the basic low performance Plymouth Satellite, Dodge Coronet, whatever you want to call them, leaf springs with zero traction devices. No pinion snubber, no nothing. And those cars are running, they 140 something, 60 foots, and they're run in the high 9-second with no Caltrax. They're doing it with no Caltrax. So tell me why you need fucking Caltrax on your car. If you can't go as fast as Dave Dudek is going with stock leaf springs on 7-inch wide tires, well then you don't need anything on there. Make it work. You see what I'm saying? Make your car work.
Dominic says we would paint the undercarriage of our cars semi-gloss black and they would sit level. Absolutely no air shocks.
Well, I use the air shock on the right side. The air shock, the reason I use the air shock on the right side is to equalize traction. Because it's torque reaction. So when you hit it, the engine is pulling up on the left front corner of the car. You're obviously all familiar with that. But the counter reaction is the right rear trying to lift. So the left front body, the body's coming up in the left front, pushing down on the right rear. But at the same time, the torque reaction of the rear end is trying to rotate the rear this way, and it lifts the right rear tire off the ground. That's why cars with open rear ends, when they do like a one-wheel peel, 95% of the time, it's the right rear tire that's doing the spinning. So I've always used air shocks on the right side to preload the suspension. So this way, as the front end comes up, the air shock gives it resistance on that, and it balances things out. The car will if you spin in the tires with it, it'll spin it and go straight. Without the air shock, you spin in the tires and it'll come off to the side.
Barth Syverson, I hope I said that right, says street zoomy exhaust tips in front of the rear wheels. Yeah.
Asinine.
Yeah, Tony doesn't like those. I'm sorry, Barth.
Oh God, dumbest
Tony doesn't
fucking
like
thing
those.
I've ever seen in my life. I know.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm sure you're a wonderful person. I know your mommy loves you. I know that, right?
Tony hates
But it
that.
is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Okay, so why do you hate that so much? What is it about it that makes you hate that so much?
It's emulating the look of a funny car.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, they put zoomies out.
Mm.
So they run exhaust
Right.
to the
I've
back,
seen it.
and then they put fucking zoomies out there. So you're trying to emulate the look of in the day. Or now they're making 10,000 horsepower, but in the day
You may have been joking about
you're
it.
trying to
anyway,
emulate the
that's
look
what
of
you liked.
a 2,500 horsepower car with your 250 horsepower freaking whatever the hell it is. It's just dumb. It's dumb. It's dumb
kinda
beyond
like
belief.
the bicycles of the time with the big shifters on them.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. There's still a lot of those though. People like funny things. It's just funny. Made muscle. Caltrax work on cars that launch hard. Dudek's car leaves soft because of the tires.
Does your car go as fast as his car goes? I don't care, hard, soft, up, down, sideways, backwards. does your car go as fast as his car does? If your car does not go as fast as his car goes, then you don't need the part. You know, does that make any sense?
Does nothing special, says Tony's triggered. Ree.
Yeah, I get triggered with stuff like this.
Aw, you're awesome, Tony. What about, let's see. Little Red's Garage says, what about the fake stick-on hood scoops?
Oh,
What about that fake bug catcher that they put on?
oh
Butterfly?
please. Oh, don't even get me started on that.
You don't like that?
Oh, God. Well, no, because see,
I can get you one for your
but
birthday.
I see that to me. That's a special pet peeve because I come from the world where those things are real.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I paid my dues, right? So. Oh God, see, I do get triggered with this stuff. I get triggered with this stuff.
Tony's gonna rage.
Whoever was just arguing with me about the Caltrax.
Knit made muscle.
Made muscle. Okay, 1965. 1965. Gary Dyer goes 863. 863. Okay, in a 3,100-pound car, 3,100 pounds with him in it, goes 863 at Lions, which is like the equivalent of like a no prep kind of surface that we have today, right? Goes 863 with a completely stock rear suspension. Completely stock rear suspension. Tell me what you need Caltrax. Have you gone 863?
You okay, Tony?
No.
You're not okay?
I'm not okay.
Franco is saying, I took a nap. Did I miss anything?
Oh, I just got triggered about a bunch of shit, Franco. It's my usual psychotic friggin'.
Let's see. Your camera's found 2 different depths of field of focus. I'm sorry. What did you do? Move the
Okay.
tobacco. And the lighter. Move stuff that's trying to focus on. I don't understand what
Is
the
that better?
problem is. No, you're a little fuzzy.
That's I vibrate at such a high
Yeah,
frequency.
no, you're just
I get triggered
fuzzy.
and I start to vibrate really hard.
I don't know why it's doing that. There it goes. Okay, you're clear again. Sorry, everybody.
Okay.
Need another Doritos, Tony?
I don't want to drink too many of them.
No. Okay, so Ari is here, it looks like.
What's happening, Ari?
What's up, Ari? Oh, what's a fake bug catcher? Bird catcher, bug catcher.
It's the scoop that they put with the butterflies on it.
Yeah.
Please. Oh, God.
Yeah. Pineapple pizza, Tony. Chris Cadman says. Do you like
No, I'm
pineapple
okay with
pizza?
pineapple pizza. I've had pineapple pizza. It's not bad. It's not bad.
A fuzzy focus makes Tony look more relaxed. What about side pipes? Do you like side pipes? That's Devil Garage is asking.
Not on a, I mean, okay, obviously side pipes are not a high performance. All right, so vets are an exception. Vets
They
scream
have
side
to have
pipe.
side pipes, right? Vets.
Okay, so function. All right, yeah, this is a good one. This is actually a good one. This is a good one. Okay, so many hot cars back in the day had side pipes, but not show pipes, not show tubes. There's a big difference there. Okay, so if you ran a car with fender wall headers, really the most efficient way to get the exhaust back behind your head, okay, is to run the exhaust to the outside of the car, and you would have, you know, a connector pipe and let's say a muffler, right? And they wouldn't really be outside the car. They would be kind of like alongside the car, tucked in kind of tight, right? Just the way a fender wall header would come out, all right? That's cool. All right, that's very cool. Corvette side pipes, single tube, right, with a heat shield over it. Again, Corvettes had a very low ride height. It made sense to run the exhaust out to the side. Perfect, fine. Show tubes are the ones that, it's a big diameter, they're chrome, they'll have an exhaust pipe that runs through the center of them so that the chrome doesn't turn blue and shit like that, and they'll have What they'll mount on the side of the car, and they'll have what looks like four tubes coming out, and then, but three of them are dummies. Three of them are dummies, and only one of them works. And those, no, unless you're doing, let's say, a retro van build or something like that, where that kind of thing would kind of fit, then they're cool. So yeah, if you're putting them on the side of a hot rod muscle car, no, very not cool. If you're putting them on the side of a custom van type of thing, right?
AMX,
Oh,
El
AMX.
Camino.
Again, it just depends. It depends on the show tubes belong on customs. Side pipes belong on cars, but only when they really belong on those cars. Like if you go out of your way to make a side pipe, that's wrong. But if it helps the functionality of the car, then it's very cool.
Midway Muscle says, bring Bottle Rocket to the Woodward Dream Cruise, Tony, and I'll show you what I've got. That's my offer.
Are you calling me out?
we Bottle Rocket's not a drivable car.
Yeah, I'll tow the car 400 miles to the Dream Cruise,
Yeah.
so I can race something I've never heard of or seen or have any idea what it is. That sounds like a very viable plan to me.
We can race on legendary French road, he says. Tom Houghton says, you should be proud that you have 530 plus people watching your live. You have great momentum.
And I'm grateful for every single one of those people. Even those who don't like me. Because they're there
I think
too.
more people that don't like you listen than people like you.
Oh, there's at least, right now, there's at least 20 or 30 lurkers who just like, they hate me.
What's he saying?
Mopars are everything, and Mr. Swinger, and who's the other guy?
Oh, there's a bunch of people.
But you see, and they don't
They make up
understand
new
it.
names all the time.
I know they don't understand it, but I appreciate them as much as I do anybody else.
Mm-hmm. Who knows what says Bottle Rocket is the best?
I love that car. I really do love that car.
Midway Muscle says right next to the airport. He says, I love you, Tony, but you need to check out the Tooth Jerker Mopar radio record holder. Runs Caltrax.
The which?
The Tooth Jerker Mopar.
Oh, I know all about the
holder
Tooth Jerker.
runs
Actually,
Caltrax.
just had a conversation about the Tooth Jerker over at Andy May's shop a couple of days ago. No, I know, but see, different level. You're talking about a different level. You know, you're talking about a car that's running in the fours, right? On least.
Jeez.
What's that?
I said, geez.
The 8th mile.
Oh.
Yeah. So, different level, different circumstance.
Keep Tony on that strawberry drink. Makes a great trigger starter. Do you like to see Tony upset? Noah Tucker says, hey, Tony.
Hey.
Dan Bushy says, dude, you're a genius, and he's clapping.
Thank you.
Don't give him a big head. I have to live with him, okay? You gotta keep him grounded. Paul Capizola, did you get to test slag hammer at the strip since the torque converter swap?
No, we were going to go yesterday. We've been rained out 3 Saturdays in a row.
Yep. 3 Saturdays.
3 Saturdays.
It's been raining a lot.
I am absolutely dying to get that car out and try with the new converter. I've launched it in the shop. I have a little section of concrete at the very front of the shop.
You almost hit Bottle Rocket.
I almost hit Bottle Rocket. I have like I don't know, 5 feet, 6 foot. I don't know. But it's a section of bare concrete, and I've laid rubber down on it, so it's actually a pretty effective like launch pad. And it was raining outside, and I got in slag hammer, and I backed it up into that area there, spun the tires a little bit, and it just wanted to see how it was going to hit, and brought it up, I don't know, 1,500 RPM or so, and just laid into it like that. And the next thing you know, all hell breaks loose, and I'm flying through the shop. And I came that close to rear-ending Bottle Rocket.
And you
So-
almost fell out of the car, too.
Well,
That was the
that
other
was
time, yeah.
the week before. But last Saturday was like a kind of a blessing in disguise that we got rained out because I had hurt my back and I can't climb up into that car, which I would not have been able to climb up into that car to drive it. But no, we got rained out again yesterday.
David Uglum says, Tony, when I was in high school, I had a friend who had a 58 or 59 Mercury with an MEL motor.
Yeah, mill motor.
Okay, Mel motor. Over 400 cubic inches, and it was fast for high school cars. Do you ever run into the Mel motors?
Yeah, actually, I did a whole video on the mill motors. There was one over at Kiwi's place, maybe a year and a half ago, maybe like a year and a half ago, and I did a whole video on the Mel. By the way, for you guys who aren't familiar, Mel is Mercury, Edsel, Lincoln. So people think of big block Fords and you think of the FE motors and the later Lima motors. But back in the 50s, there was this, in the early 60s, there was a line called the Mel, Mercury, Edsel, Lincoln. And the biggest of those was like 460, I don't even know how big it was, like in the 460 cubic inch range, way before it was common to have that kind of size.
Let's see. Tavo says we're running overtime.
Are we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
A few minutes.
it's rolling.
47 says, I love every single street freak cliche accessory.
So, okay, so the Mrs. Landy, that's a white 64 Dodge that's at the shop. And that's going to be a hypermiler build. But I want to make it cool and interesting. So my plan for that car, so we're going to do a hypermiler 170 for it, 170 slant 6. But my plan for that car is to throw the entire 1970s J.C. Whitney catalog at it. So I want to have every single like cliche thing that a high school kid would have put on his car from that era. And
don't we have a foot in there for like the lights? Yeah.
I have, it's foot in there flight, but I also have the footsie gas pedal for it too.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I got that upstairs. But yeah, it'll have the Cal Custom like window cranks and like, just name it. If it was a cliche thing that a high school kid would have put on his car in 1974 or whatever, it's going to go on that car.
So Ari got hurt. Something happened to your face, Ari. What happened?
What happened to your face, Ari? Ari's a good-looking guy, in a non-homo way, of course.
Right. Yeah. You're right, Ari. Hood pins. Tony likes hood pins, right?
Why were they necessary?
Mm-hmm. Paint the interior dome light.
Yeah, they used to do that too. They used to paint them with a blue ballpoint pen.
Nice.
That was such a common thing.
We'll have to do that for the Roadrunner. Don Schlosser says July 1975. I was at Englishtown. Oh, where'd they go? Oh, I was reading it, Don. Okay, he just deleted it. Sorry. Maybe he'll write it again. A foot gas pedal is speed equipment only because it weighs down the gas pedal.
No, I want to have all the cliches. I want to have all of the whole J.C. Whitney catalog. I want it on there.
Ari says, yeah, I'm okay. Well, it's good to hear, Ari. Ari's okay, Tony.
Yes.
Where's Zero? Zero, right?
I'm okay. They sewed my cheek back on.
Oh my goodness. He says my face made contact with a fan like a propeller object.
Oh.
You need a Mopar boogie van? No.
No, I'm good.
Noah Tucker sent you super chat.
Thank you.
I have a 69 Plymouth Valiant that is breaking up at highway speeds. When warm and feels like someone cut my throttle cable and returns to idle itself.
Read that one more time now.
Okay. I have a 69 Plymouth Valiant that is breaking up at highway speeds when warm and feels like someone cut my throttle cable and returns to idle itself.
Breaking up at highway speeds is generally too much advance. All right, so low speed and on acceleration, no break up. Then you reach cruise at, let's say, 40, 50, 60 miles an hour, and it'll break up. That's generally a sign of too much advance. If you suspect that that's what it is, unplug the vacuum advance and take it for the same ride and see if that goes away. Um, it could also be lean condition, but not likely because you're not complaining of other things. The rest of it, return it to idle. I don't even know what you mean by that.
Zero is fine too, as far as I know. He just picked up a spare coil from me at work and has to start running better for it, thankfully, Ari says. Curb feelers are for low riders.
You see, I would put curb feelers
On what?
On the Dart, on Mrs. Landy.
You curb feelers
I
on
want
Mrs.
I want
Landy?
all of I want the whole J.C.
The whole
Whitney
thing?
catalog. Yeah, exactly.
Side pipes? Is she getting side pipes?
No, because
No?
it's Slant 6. It's
The car's a mess. We drove that thing into the
10 years we drove that car.
yeah, the car's a mess. The whole interior has to come out. It has it needs floor patches. Yeah.
Yeah.
Spotlights. Please no curb feelers, Rusty Jeep says. Let's see. All right, so we're over 2 hours. It's 9:22.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yes, it is.
All right, take a couple more and then we'll go.
Okay. RC51 says a barefoot gas pedal cover and a Sparkomatic 3-speed floor shifter to convert from a 3 on the tree. Are you making the car?
Well, it's push button.
Right, but are you going to make the car a manual? Or are you leaving it an automatic?
I'm thinking about converting it to a 4-speed, an 833 overdrive 4-speed.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do we have one?
For fuel mileage. No,
No, we don't
gotta
have
get
one.
one. We had a bunch of them. I sold everything
When?
over the course of the last year or two.
Well, why'd you get rid of it? So you're not going to
We
find it?
may have one in the shed on the shelf. I gotta check.
Okay, we have to clean the shed out. Any help is appreciated. You still have Mrs. Landy. Yes, Robert.
Yes, that's the car we're talking about.
Yeah. She's just sitting there. UTG, any suggestions for fitting a 57 Bel Air floor pans? Oh, to Plymouth Firewall. You asked that already.
Yeah,
He
that was
answered
like
it.
in 2 hours ago.
He
We went
answered
into that. Yeah.
that. Maybe you missed it.
Go back and
To the replay. Franco, do you know why lowriders have those 9-inch steering wheels? So they can drive away with the handcuffs on.
I like that.
Oh my goodness. The last chat was not a question, but a statement. You know what Tucker says. Was it? It wasn't a question? I don't know. I'm tired. Oh. Noah Tucker. Oh, okay. It wasn't a question, it was a statement.
Which
Okay.
was? What did
The
you say?
69 Plymouth Valiant that's breaking up at highway speeds when warm. It feels like someone cut my throttle cable and returns to idle itself. So I guess it wasn't a question, it was a statement.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Noah.
Yeah.
I misread that. Good night, Randy Bowers. Russell J. Finch. Tony, what are your thoughts on the... Oh, wait, hang on, jumped. On the big wings and flared bodywork. I know they make us go faster. Mrs. Landy needs one.
No, we definitely wouldn't be getting any type of wings, but I have a vision. I have a picture of what I want with that car. You know, it's like high school parking lot, 1977.
Oh, we would look ridiculous driving that.
I don't care.
Why are
I've
those
reached
old
a point-
people driving that car.
I've reached a point. I just don't care. I just don't care.
Billboard stripes on Mrs. Landy. Okay, Seth.
What kind of stripes?
Billboard.
Billboards. Yeah.
We
You know,
should
see,
do
that
it.
would be funny.
We should do it.
That would be funny.
You know what? Screw it. Let's just do it.
170.
We could do it. That'd be hilarious. And everybody would look and be like, I hate those people.
We could put a Daytona wing on it.
Yeah.
Billboard stripes.
We don't want to mock anybody, though.
No, God forbid.
Thank you for your HPP service many years ago. What's HHP service?
High
Oh,
performance
no,
Pontiac.
HPP. Oh, sorry. HPP, sorry. High performance Pontiac, right? Don't forget the fuzzy dice, Tony.
Oh, of course. And something fuzzy hanging or furry hanging from the antenna.
Oh, yeah, like it needs a ball of some sort.
Well, they used to use like raccoon tails,
We need
squirrel
Jesus on the
tails.
dashboard.
What?
Jesus on the dashboard.
With bobblehead Jesus. Yeah.
Well, no, the whole Jesus would move, wouldn't it?
No,
it
was
would
the
glow
hula
in the
dancer.
dark. I'm sorry. It was a glow in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, open the door so she can come out.
Bart Syverson sent you a super chat. Fun night. I thought UT Bleary was my beverage. Street zoomies forever. Haha.
She was just jumping up and down.
Yes,
Oh, there she goes.
I'm coming. This is not professional.
Miggy. Oh, jeez.
Slapper bars for Mrs. Landy, please.
No, I can't do that.
CB and antenna.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up now because she's going nuts.
Okay.
All right.
Hula girl for the dash. Okay.
Well, we put the whole family up there.
Everybody, yeah.
Everybody.
Oh, and you need the dog for the back.
The
Beagle?
bobblehead dog, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Craco 8-track player.
Huh?
The Craco 8-track player.
Great. Okay. You ready?
Yes. All right. So everybody, our mods, Ari Fubar Zero. Ari, I hope you didn't get hurt too bad. Guys, thank you as always. Everybody contributed super chat. Thank you. Never expected, but always appreciated. You guys help keep the wheels turning, and you have no idea how important that is to keep the wheels turning. And everybody contributed just with your presence and your conversation. Thank you equally. What do we got lined up for this week? I don't have anything profound.
Who will we anger this week?
I'll piss somebody off. I'm gonna. By the way, I am not suicidal. Just let's get this straight, okay? I have never ever had a suicidal thought in my entire life. So just keep that in mind as we go forward with this stuff.
For a leader build.
What's that?
The 4.0 build.
Oh God, I know. I'm gonna ignore that. I didn't hear that question. So I don't think I have anything profound lined up for this week, but
Maybe we'll get the Charger painted and out.
I'm gonna do a thing on the Duster Twister. I think I'm gonna do that. That's an interesting video, I think.
Mr. Twister.
Yeah, because we're talking about cars that are all show no go,
Oh,
and then
okay.
the Twister was a factory all show no go package. It's just interesting that and the Maverick Grabber.
Okay.
So
How about a live with Steve Maggs where we get a chance to talk? Did you not let the people talk when you did that
no,
live?
we were just going at it. Steve Maggs will be. We're gonna make it a monthly thing. So we'll get together sometime in August, and yeah, we'll have you guys.
You'll let people ask questions?
Yes, I'm sorry that we.
Did you go off on tangents?
Yeah, he and I are both. We're a bad combination. We're a bad combination. If so, we talk for 2 hours straight. If Steve and I had 20 hours, we'd talk the same way. It would just keep going. So.
Yikes.
Well, we have a lot in common. Like our brain wiring is similar, so we understand each other. I understand him, he understands me, and there's not too many people who do. So that's why when we get together, it's just like. What else is there? I think that's it. So let's pull the plug. Thursday night
wait,
with Kiwi.
Special Agent James just said, "Hey, y'all."
Hey, y'all. It was fun, James. So yeah, Thursday night with Kiwi. We'll see you guys then, and I think that's it. Make it stop then. Just make it stop.
Good night, everybody.